They that are calm, connected, and in control own the outcome and get what they want. How many times have you said yes when you should have said not yet, just to keep the peace? Well, that is a typical response or typical reaction in a negotiation in home life. Okay, I'm gonna show you a tactic or a framework that I use when negotiating high stakes decision making under pressure. Okay, and I use this framework called the AAAOO. Now let's start from the top. Or actually, let's talk about the intent. So the intent of this is to help you handle tough conversations with your partner, with your friends, with your colleagues, with your kids, with your boss, without exploding, without retreating, or caving in. By the end, you should feel stronger, more grounded, and equipped with a framework or a system to help you navigate these tough conversations. The first part of the framework is acknowledge. You must acknowledge their pressure. The fastest way to disarm emotion is to validate experience without surrendering truth. So for example, let's say your partner feels unheard. You're always on the phone. The average response is to defend, explain, and to argue. However, the strategist or the operator acknowledges the pressure. You're right, I've been distracted lately, and I can see how that feels unfair. What this does is releases tension, the emotional wall lowers, you're no longer an opponent, you are now collaborators. The key takeaway is acknowledgement isn't agreement, it's permission for truth to enter the room. Number 2, we anchor. We anchor on the partnership. The principle is we got to bring the focus back to the relationship, not the moment. The moment is a point in time. The relationship is long-term. When you anchor long-term, you neutralize the heat of the short-term emotion. For example, you say, look, we both want the same thing, a relationship where we feel seen and respected. Let's make sure we're solving for us, not against us. The anchoring shifts the frame from me versus you to us versus the problem. It introduces unity without diluting accountability. Now the key takeaway is, when you anchor to the bond, emotions become data, not danger. The third A is ask. You want to ask targeted questions to surface truth. The principle here, questions expose motives. They turn conflict into clarity. For example, instead of saying you're always upset with me, ask what do you need from me right now that you're not getting? Or when you say I don't listen, what does listening look like to you? These questions slow down reactive energy and create a roadmap to resolution. The takeaway, the one who asks the right questions controls the temperature in the room. Okay, the first O. Offer. You must offer a path forward. The principle, you don't win negotiations by overpowering. You win by offering movement. For example, you can say, here's what I can commit to you. I'll leave my phone away for dinner. Let's both take 30 minutes together each night. This is not submission, it's leadership. You're steering the conversation from complaint to construction. The key takeaway here is offer direction, not defense. The last piece of this, own. You must own the outcome. So this is kind of a feedback loop. The principle here is closing the loop by defining the next steps with calm authority. This prevents emotional drift and shows reliability. For example, let's check in at the end of the week to see if this has helped. You're acknowledging, you're anchoring, you've asked, you've offered, and now you own. You hold the frame not by force, but by follow through. The takeaway, control isn't power over people, it's power within yourself. People think negotiations only happen in the boardroom. The truth is, they happen all over the place. They happen in the kitchen, they happen with the kids, they happen with your coworkers, they happen all the time. The AAAOO Framework keeps you grounded in those moments. They that are calm, connected, and in control own the outcome and get what they want. The next time tensions rise or you're in a negotiation, acknowledge the pressure, anchor in the partnership, ask to find truth, offer a path, and own the outcome. Thanks again for joining this masterclass on negotiation with me, Kelly Jawhari. I hope to see you next time.